Finally, after 6 months, the ultimate wooden 3D printer is complete. This is, without a doubt, the coolest thing I have built in my entire life. Without further ado, I'm going to show you exactly how I built it. Let's get started. We're starting exactly where we left off in the previous video. All of the wooden parts are technically done, but there's still a lot I need to do before I can assemble the frame. In order to make sure that everything fits together securely, I made all of the vertical pieces a little bit oversized. That way I can sand them down until the fitment is just right. Of course, I also want the other parts to have a nice smooth surface finish, so I'm sanding those down as well. After a truly painful amount of sanding, it's finally time to assemble the frame. Rather than using screws like on the previous design, I'm using wood glue instead. The idea is that since it cures slowly, it gives me more time to make sure I can assemble the frame square, or at least as close to square as I can get. I take out a piece, add some glue, and then press it back into place. From here, it's just a matter of making sure that all the vertical pieces slot in exactly where they need to go. To help stop the middle plate from warping, I've already bolted all of the gantry rails onto it. Once everything was together, I clamped it down and let the glue dry for a couple of days. I did one final pass of sanding just to clean up all the edges, and finally, the frame was done. If anyone's curious, it took no less than 7 hours of sanding in total. I think that's enough sanding to last the rest of my entire life, to be honest. Next up, we gotta make the frame look pretty, and for that, we're gonna use stain. I had never stained anything in my entire life at this point, so I figured it would be smart to do a test before staining the real thing. I'm just using an offcut here, but it's exactly the same wood that the frame is made from. Other than making a huge mess, I was pretty happy with the final result. It's time to give the frame the same treatment. I would describe staining the frame as stressful. Who knew it's a lot harder to stain a complex three-dimensional shape rather than, a square. The main frame was only half the battle. I still needed to stain the top plate, the backers, and the bed mount as well. When all was said and done, the parts looked like this, and it's finally time to start building the actual printer. I'm going to be building this machine from the bottom up, so I'm starting with the skirts and the electronics bay. I decided to go with black PLA for these parts because I like how it complements the frame. I did experiment with using wood PLA and then staining that, but I just wasn't very happy with the final look. Each skirt gets heat set inserts and a rubber foot, then we can just set them on the bottom of the printer and attach them with some M3x40mm bolts. For the mainboard, I'm using the Manta M8P, which Big Tree Tech very kindly sent me for this project. It's a tight squeeze, but you can see the board just barely fits between the Z motors on the bottom. The next order of business is the Z-axis. The wooden printer has a triple Z system, which allows the printer to tram the bed automatically. Is this necessary for a printer that's so small? Not really, but it's cool, so I wanted to do it. I'm using 150mm lead screws here, so I should get around 110mm of Z-axis travel when all is said and done. I'm using some printed alignment jigs to help keep the Z-rails straight while I install them, and to secure them I'm just using M3 nuts. The Z carriages themselves are all printed. The bed assembly itself uses a Voron Zero bed, which mounts to the wooden bed mount with some M3 screws, and that whole assembly then sits on top of the 3 carriages. There we go. Everything moves smoothly, and you can see how you can tram the bed with just the 3 lead screws. Z-axis complete. The gantry is arguably the most complex part of the entire printer. I'm using a cross gantry motion system, which is just regular old Cartesian, but each axis is driven by 2 motors. Take a look at this. Here we have the gantry itself, and on top of it we have the x-axis here and the y-axis here. The x-axis is moved by the front left and back right motors like so, and the y-axis is moved by the front right and back left. These 2 axes can move independently. The tool head, where the extruder and the hot end live, connects the x and y axes together. With a setup like this, we have lots of torque thanks to the 4 motors, and also short and straight belt paths. For the rails, I got some backers laser cut out of stainless steel by the sponsor of today's video, Justway. These backers go opposite the linear rails on the frame, and on the moving cross rails as well. I made use of Justway's tapping services when I ordered these, so all the parts arrived at my door pre-tapped and ready to go. This was great because tapping 60 holes in stainless steel is not exactly my idea of a good time. Justway offers far more than just laser cutting services though, including 3D printing, CNC machining, injection molding, and vacuum casting. If you need parts for your own project, check out Justway for all of your fabrication needs. The first 10 viewers who use the code Justway at MitsuMakes-10 can get $10 off any order over $30. Link below. Thanks to Justway for continuing to support the channel. These backers should hopefully help stop the frame from warping over time. After all, the wood will be sandwiched between 2 pieces of steel. Additionally, the backers will add stiffness to the moving cross rails, since I think we both know that bolting a linear rail to 3mm wood might as well be bolting it to nothing at all. Yes, the backers do add a considerable amount of weight, but since we have 2 motors per axis, there's plenty of torque to go around. Speaking of motors, I'm using LDO 2004 MAH motors with 80mm long shafts. Each motor needs an idler and a pulley, and I'm using some printed spacers to make sure that everything is installed in the right place. Let's take a look at the cross rail assemblies. Each one has the cross rail itself, the steel rail backer, the belt tensioners, and then some spacers to align everything together. The 2 assemblies are essentially mirror images of one another. On one, the rail is at the bottom facing up, and on the other, it's on the top facing down. Next, we can carefully install the cross rails onto the frame. You can see here that I've attached the belts as well, which is going to be important later. On the frame, we can add the 4 block spacers, and then the top plate on top of those. On top of each motor, we have a printed part holding a bearing for double shear support. The top of the motor shaft slides into that bearing, and now the shaft won't be able to bend when the belts are tensioned. Everything is then secured together with some extremely long M3 bolts. Once everything is installed, we can begin routing the belts. The belts go around the pulley on one side, through a slot on the tensioners, around the idler on the other side, and then finally into the tensioners. From there, you can use an M3 bolt to tension. That might sound complex, but a Cartesian motion system is basically as simple as it can possibly be. Even though I have the top plate in the way and just not a whole lot of room to work, this was still way easier to belt up than even the easiest of Core XYs. The tool head itself is from the NX Engineering K3. I did need to modify a few things for clearance, like mounting the extruder on a much taller spacer, but it's like 90% stock. For anyone curious, I'm running a Dragon UHF hot end, a Sherpa Mini extruder with a 6-tooth motor, and Beacon Rev H for the bed probe. Is this wildly overkill? Of course, but that's just how I like it. Overall, the wiring was pretty simple, thanks in part to the Manta. I tidied up the cables to the best of my ability, and then, just like that, it was time to start a print. I loaded some filament and decided to fire off a Voron cube. No calibration or anything, I just wanted to see the printer print. Here you can see the beacon being used for homing, Z-tilt adjustment, where the printer automatically trams the bed, and finally, scanning the bed for the bed mesh. And by the way, don't mind the printer wobbling in these shots. I assure you it's not the printer itself, just my very, very wobbly table. Yeah, I should really fix that. I think this is a super impressive first print, but the quality can get even better with a little bit of tuning. I started off with Input Shaper. To make sure that my wobbly table didn't impact the results, I put my printer on the floor for this. Here you can see two cubes printed from exactly the same G-code, the one on the left with input shaping and the one on the right without it. Input shaping is seriously magic. I also tuned the extruder rotation distance, pressure advance, flow ratio, and retraction. With all that out of the way, I think it's time to just print some stuff. I'm going to leave you with some of my first prints after completing the build. Huge thanks to SaneSmart and Justway for their support with this project, and even bigger thanks to viewers like you for watching these videos in the first place. None of this would be possible without you. Alright, I'm gonna get started on the next video then, and hopefully it won't take me 6 months this time. See you then.